Have you ever felt like the world around you is shifting beneath your feet? Like the beliefs and values you once held as unshakable truths are now uncertain? Imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you thought gave life meaning, tradition, morality, faith is no longer taken for granted. What would you do? Where would you turn? This unsettling feeling is precisely what Friedrich Nietzsche, the German philosopher known for his critiques of morality, religion, and traditional philosophy, described over a century ago when he uttered the now infamous words, "God is dead." But before you jump to conclusions, Nietzsche wasn't celebrating this idea, he was warning us. He saw a world where the old structures of meaning were collapsing, leaving humanity standing at the edge of a great unknown. Without an absolute source of truth, how do we define right and wrong? How do we create purpose in a world where everything seems uncertain? In this video, we'll unravel the real meaning behind Nietzsche's provocative statement and explore why his message is more relevant today than ever before. Get ready for a deep dive into history, philosophy, and the very fabric of human existence. To understand God is dead, we need to step back into the 19th century. Nietzsche lived during a time when the scientific revolution and the rise of industrial society were reshaping every facet of life. Traditional religious and moral values, once unassailable, were coming under intense scrutiny. Science was not only explaining the natural world, but was also undermining the mystical explanations that had provided meaning for millennia. In this climate of rapid change, Nietzsche observed a growing crisis. As people began to trust reason and empirical evidence, the age-old narratives of divine order and destiny began to lose their grip. The steady decline of religious authority wasn't just a shift in belief. It was a tectonic rupture in the way society understood itself. Nietzsche's declaration, "God is dead," was not an attack on spirituality per se. It was a metaphor for the collapse of a central source of moral and existential certainty. With the traditional framework crumbling, humanity was left staring into a void where once there was order. The implications were immense. Without the guiding hand of a transcendent power, how could people find meaning in a chaotic, indifferent universe? As we navigate this transition, consider how you've experienced moments in your own life when long-held beliefs were challenged. That disorientation, that deep questioning, Nietzsche believed that these were the birth pains of a new, self-determined humanity. Let's break down what Nietzsche meant by these words. At its core, "God is dead" is not a triumphal statement declaring the end of spirituality. Rather, it is a stark acknowledgement that the traditional, externally imposed frameworks of meaning, anchored in religion, had lost their power in modern society. For Nietzsche, God was a symbol of an absolute order, a guarantor of moral values that everyone could rely on. But as society evolved, the need for such an external authority began to wane. People were forced to confront the realization that morality could no longer be justified by divine command. This left a vacuum, a space where once there was clear, unchallengeable order. This isn't to say that Nietzsche was indifferent to the consequences of this vacuum. On the contrary, he warned that the collapse of traditional values could lead to nihilism, a state where nothing seems to matter, where the absence of intrinsic meaning could plunge society into despair. In a world without absolute truths, the risk is not freedom, but chaos. Yet, Nietzsche was not advocating for a descent into nihilism. Instead, he offered a radical alternative, the possibility of self-creation. With the old gods gone, humanity was challenged to become its own god. This means taking full responsibility for one's life, creating personal values, and striving for greatness through what Nietzsche called the will to power. Imagine for a moment the liberation of no longer being bound by inherited dogmas. It is terrifying and exhilarating all at once, a call to courage, a challenge to embrace uncertainty. Nietzsche's vision was that out of the ruins of old certainties, a new kind of human could emerge, the Übermensch, or overman, who invents his own values and leads humanity toward a higher state of being. As traditional values falter, a new crisis emerges. a crisis of meaning. Without an absolute moral framework, the very foundations of society and personal identity begin to shake. For many, this leads to nihilism, a profound sense of emptiness and despair where nothing holds intrinsic value. This is the dark side of the death Nietzsche foretold. Nihilism is not merely pessimism. It is the realization that in a universe without predetermined meaning, every act, every decision, must be weighed against the vast, indifferent backdrop of existence. Many people react to this existential void by retreating into passivity or dogmatic beliefs, seeking solace in rigid systems that offer an illusion of order. Others, however, see it as an opportunity to explore the uncharted territory of the self. In the face of nihilism, Nietzsche urges us to confront the void rather than flee from it. He challenges us to look into the abyss of meaninglessness and, instead of succumbing to despair, to harness the freedom it offers. This is the paradox at the heart of his philosophy. The very destruction of old certainties can be the catalyst for a more authentic, self-determined existence. Consider the discomfort you feel when long-held beliefs are questioned. That unease is not merely anxiety, it is the stirring of a deeper potential within you. Nietzsche's call is to transform that discomfort into creative energy, to build new values that are not dictated by tradition, but are born from your own experience and insight. The idea of the Übermensch is central to Nietzsche's response to the crisis of meaning. The Übermensch is not a prescribed role or a fixed ideal, but a symbol of what humanity can aspire to be when freed from the constraints of outdated morality. This figure embodies the will to power, the drive to overcome limitations, to shape one's destiny, and to create a personal, authentic morality. Imagine a person who no longer seeks validation from external sources, a person who, in the absence of divine authority, boldly crafts their own destiny. This is the spirit of the Übermensch. Nietzsche envisions a future where individuals step out of the shadows of inherited beliefs and take full responsibility for their lives. It is a call to become the architects of your own existence, to redefine what it means to live a meaningful life in a world where the old gods are no more. This is not an easy path. It requires constant self-examination, a willingness to embrace uncertainty, and the courage to break away from the comfort of collective belief. Yet, it also holds the promise of true liberation, a chance to tap into your deepest potential and, in doing so, to inspire others to do the same. Ask yourself, what would it mean for you to cast aside the weight of external expectations, to venture into the uncharted territory of your own desires, fears, and aspirations? Nietzsche challenges us to take this journey, to see the void left by the death of God not as an end, but as the beginning of a transformative quest. Fast forward to today. Although Nietzsche's words were penned over a century ago, the struggle to find meaning in a post-religious world is more relevant than ever. We live in an age where old narratives are constantly deconstructed, and new ideologies, sometimes fleeting and contradictory, take their place. The digital era, with its barrage of information and the constant challenge to traditional ways of thinking, mirrors the existential crossroads Nietzsche described. In many ways, modern society continues to grapple with the consequences of a world without absolute authority. We see the fragmentation of collective values, the rise of individualism, and the persistent quest for personal authenticity. Whether it's through art, technology, or new spiritual movements, people are still searching for a way to imbue their lives with purpose. But this search is not without its perils. The very freedom to choose can be overwhelming. Without a clear guidepost, many drift into cynicism or despair. In our hyper-connected world, where every opinion is amplified and every belief challenged, the risk is not liberation but isolation, a feeling that, in the absence of shared meaning, we are each alone in our quest for truth. Yet Nietzsche's challenge remains a powerful antidote. His philosophy is not a prescription for nihilism, but an invitation to transcend it. It's a call to look at the shattered remnants of old certainties and dare to build something new, something that reflects the complexities of our modern existence. Consider the impact of this idea on various fields: art, literature, psychology, and even politics. Artists have embraced the notion of self-creation, using the void as a canvas for new forms of expression. Writers explore characters who, freed from societal constraints, embark on journeys of self-discovery and reinvention. And in the realm of psychology, the existential questions that arise from a world without predetermined meaning continue to influence therapeutic practices and the understanding of the human mind. Nietzsche's legacy is a testament to the enduring struggle for meaning, a struggle that, while often painful, also holds the promise of profound personal and cultural growth. His insights encourage us not to fear the collapse of the old order, but to see it as an opportunity for renewal and self-empowerment. At the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy is a challenge to each of us. How do we live authentically when the familiar anchors of tradition are gone? This challenge is not reserved for philosophers or artists. It is a universal question that touches every facet of human life. To answer this, we must acknowledge that the process of self-creation is neither quick nor simple. It demands introspection, courage, and an unwavering commitment to honesty. When we discard the inherited values that once defined us, we are forced to confront the raw, unfiltered truth of our own existence. It is here, in the tension between who we are and who we might become, that true transformation occurs. Imagine standing at the crossroads of your life, with the comforting certainties of the past dissolving before your eyes. In that moment, you have two choices. You can retreat into the familiar, clinging to remnants of outdated beliefs, or you can venture forth into the unknown, crafting a new identity from the ground up. Nietzsche argues that only by taking that leap can we hope to achieve the heights of human potential. This journey is fraught with risk. It means challenging the status quo, questioning long-held assumptions, and sometimes facing the scorn of those who remain tethered to traditional values. But it also means tapping into a deep reservoir of creative energy, a force that propels you to redefine your destiny, and in doing so, reshape the world around you. When you choose to create your own values, you are not merely rejecting the past. You are actively participating in the birth of a new cultural paradigm, one that is fluid, dynamic, and true to the complexity of human experience. So, what does it mean for us today when we say, God is dead? It is a reminder that the structures that once guaranteed meaning no longer hold sway. It is both a lament and a call to arms, a recognition of loss, and yet an invitation to rise above that loss and seize the freedom to create something new. Nietzsche's words challenge us to confront the void, to embrace the anxiety and uncertainty that come with the collapse of old certainties, and to transform that unease into a powerful drive for self-discovery. They ask us to look in the mirror and see not the reflection of a passive being clinging to outdated ideals, but a vibrant, dynamic force capable of shaping its own destiny. In this modern age, where the rapid pace of change continues to unsettle our collective identity, the question remains as urgent as ever. Without the crutch of inherited dogma, how do we find meaning? The answer lies in the bold act of self-creation, a journey that demands both vulnerability and strength, introspection and courage. As you ponder these ideas, ask yourself, what values have you inherited without question? And what would it take to challenge them, to strip away the comfortable narratives, and to build something uniquely your own? Nietzsche invites you not to despair in the face of a disintegrating past, but to see it as fertile ground for the emergence of a new, self-determined future. If these ideas resonate with you, if you've ever felt the stirring of a deeper truth beneath the surface of your everyday life, then join the conversation. Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's explore together what it means to reclaim our destiny in a world where the old gods have been laid to rest. Remember, the death of God is not an end, it's a beginning. It's a call to each of us to become the authors of our own lives, to craft a meaning that is as personal as it is profound. And in doing so, we honor Nietzsche's enduring legacy, a legacy that continues to challenge, inspire, and ultimately transform the human spirit. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the depths of philosophy and self-discovery. If you found this exploration enlightening, be sure to subscribe for more in-depth discussions on the ideas that shape our world. Until next time, embrace the uncertainty, create your own values, and remember, in the void, you have the power to be reborn.